Hi, hello, I'm DameHelsing from the dock. I just want to say before you officially listen into this guest cast, Quack guest cast, um, one, there will be some honest opinions here, and two, this was done in a Discord group chat, so I am actually a push to talk kind of person, and you will probably hear some like soft beeping sounds, and that is me pushing to talk. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it and buy the anthology.
Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean, and I'm just dropping in here to introduce first the featured comic for the week. Kawaii Daigakse gave us this week's feature, which is Lullaby Tale, and she's just going to tell us about that now.
Hello, this is Quackcast, and the feature I have selected for this week is Lullaby Tales by The Jagged, and it is rated E for everyone. Wake up, little critter! It is an early morning on Cap's Mimi farm, and the enormous Raka, aka the local bully, is tearing up the place and all the cute Mimis. It is up to little critter to show the Raka who's boss. Welcome to Lullaby Town, where random rocket ships tear across the stratosphere and end up in the cheerful and warm embrace of the local townspeople. The art is filled with so much personality. The ink wash sketches and warm vanilla backgrounds have a dreamlike quality that are straight out of a wild imagination. Come meet the newest visitor, Kristar, and read Lullaby Tales by The Jagged, rated E.
Thank you so much for that, Kwai. That was a great little introduction to Lullaby Tales. Okay, next up we have the featured music Gummalus gave us. Gummalus gave us the theme to a comic called Freddie Reno Went Missing. It's a relaxing day in the warm sun at the beach. The smell of sunscreen on skin and salt air tinged with pungent hint of seaweed. This music rolls in like a pleasant breeze, washing away negativity with its easy, jazzy, calming sounds. Sit back, sink into the warm white sands, let them cushion you as the heat of the sun melts away your worries. So take it away, Gummalus, with the theme to Freddie Reno Went Missing. Thank you so much for that, Gummalus. That was a great comic by Or Give Me Death, Ind, and it's rated M for mature. So, good idea to check that out. Okay, back to the Quackcast with our special guests, Mal, Pitface, and DameHelsing. Mal, also known as Bluecuts, and DameHelsing, also known as Alice. Take it away, guys. Tell us about the anthology.
Hi everyone, this is the guest quack or something like that for this week. I'm Alice, also Dame Helsing on the Duck. I write the webcomic Scorned and I helped run the anthology. Okay, you guys introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Mal. You can also call me Bluecuts34 on the Duck. I also helped run the anthology. It's a common theme here.
Pitface? Oh, I guess she
Okay, so full disclosure to our listeners, Pitface has just found a tiny, adorable baby bird outside, and I think she's on the phone to wildlife rescue of some kind,
Oh,
which is
okay.
just delightful.
Yeah, so we have like a baby rescue in our midst. A baby rescue, baby bird rescue.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Pitt is our. I think you all know her. She is our final anthology editor and noted friend to wildlife. Pitface on the duck. Pitface on Discord. The
yeah,
branding is really simple,
she's very popular. Uh,
especially among baby birds.
yep. Okay, so what made us run the anthology? Why don't you answer that?
So, anyone who is listening to this and doesn't know about the anthology, the Duck has an anthology. It's themed in horror. So, all of the stories sort of take horror as the theming in one way or another, whether it's humorous, whether it's campy, whether it's straight horror or a bit of a subversion. All of them have the same theming. And the idea behind the anthology is to fund the redevelopment of the website because it looks a little pre-GFC 2007 realness, which is in the days of tapas and webtoons and slick big corporations running most of big budget webcomics and webcomic sites is really frustrating that a great webcomic site can sit there because the kids have never seen a website like this, they automatically discredit it. So being able to run the anthology to potentially raise funds for the Ducks redevelopment was what a gift. How cool is that?
Yeah, oh. Oh my God, my phone is going off. Um, yeah, the thing that I hate is that I actually kind of like the way the duck looks right now, but I am aware that with the way it looks right now just does not work in our current world. Um,
Oh, 100%. I'm like an old woman. I've been reading webcomics for more than a decade. I remember when all of the websites look like the duck. This is very familiar and very nostalgic for me.
oh, so Pitface is back. Do you want to introduce yourself? Even though we introduced you, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Pitface. I helped to some degree with this in theory. The two rock stars of this whole project have actually been Al and Alice. So, but I've bared witness to their greatness, and and I'm here to suck up some of the glory if there's any to be had, I guess. But yeah, I make a webcomic on the Duck. Well, I've made a few on the Duck. My current passion project is Inhabitants. My past baby has been Putrid Meat, still working off and on Brave Resistance, and my contribution to the anthology was called The Walk Home. I forgot for a second. So anyway, yeah, that's me.
I was gonna say Flora on the Run.
I like, that's better. You should have gone with that, Flora. So,
So since we did this anthology, what does the duck mean to us?
I mean,
um,
oh, you go, Pitt. You've been here way longer, so I would really love to hear your take on this one.
well, I think that's just kind of it for me. I've been on it for a long time. I think I started on it in 2007 with Putrid Meat. And like I said, I've had a few projects on there, but it's been my community. It was the community that I first chose because it was free and back in 2007, at least to the extent that I was aware of. There wasn't a whole lot of hosting sites to choose from in terms of hosting comic. And being a part of it for so long, I've gotten to know a lot of people on there. I have met Oz, the great and powerful himself in real life, um, and Tanya, who's a tangerine. Her name looks like Tance Arene, but it's in Greek it's tangerine. So if there's a disconnect between who I mean, a lot of people on the community would definitely know who she is because she's a far bigger presence on there than I am. But yeah, it's been my community. I have a lot of good memories on there. It's not as big as a lot of places are now, but it's a lot more open in terms of restrictions, and the community pretty good. There's some places out there that have pretty toxic communities, but the Duck is a pretty warm and welcoming place for the most part. It can be a little quiet on there, but and there's just so many different kinds of comics on there too. Like, for instance, I have inhabitants on Tapas as well. When you go on Tapas, you are just inundated with like romance comics and slice of life comics, and there are some great ones on there. And maybe that's also because of my preferences that I've been searching, but you don't get nearly the variety in there on sites like that you do with Drunkduck, or the Duck now as it's called.
I mean, I
Where
would.
you, yeah,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I would completely agree with that, because despite it being cheaper and easier than ever to like make your own comic site or like have your own personal site, and it's never been cheaper to like, it was so expensive to host back in 2007, and coding was just this Byzantine language. I mean, I was pretty like, say back in like 2007, it's 21 now, doing some maths. I
12
was
years?
like, yeah, I was like 10, 11. I was like dimly aware of comics as a medium, liked to read webcomics. I was convinced I was going to be like a professional artist or something like that. But back then, like the hosting situation is a lot different. Now you can just like jump on Tapas or jump on Webtoons and immediately have your comic in front of like hundreds of people. But conversely, it's never been harder to get your work seen. It's never been harder to like make money of your comics either. So,
yeah,
and so places like Tapas and Webtoons, and like they're fantastic because it gives people this really easy way to get their work out there, and like immediately you have a big webcomics community, which is just so special, coming from 10 years ago where it is difficult to find other artists. But there's also a real restriction on like what kind of work gets promoted there, a restriction on what kind of work you can create. There's like you can't create anything that's too upsetting or too not safe for work or too queer. Like you can't go as hard when you are on a corporate site like that. And the Duck doesn't have any of that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really liked about the Duck, that it was very open. And it
Mm.
just seemed like the kind of community that would be willing to accept everything. And if some people didn't care about it, they wouldn't just outrightly say it. They would just be like, you know what, that's not really my cup of tea, so I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
read it. And that's it. When you have like Tapas and Webtoons, people are just, well, they're rude about it. I'm not going to lie, they're horrible.
If you aren't making work, and I've seen this with my friends who aren't making work that is sort of in vogue, I guess, there's like a typical like webcomic style that you can identify now. And if your comic isn't regularly updating, perfectly polished, perfectly crisp and clear, you will get hate comments for it. And
wow.
I've never gotten a comment like that on the Duck ever. And I get more
No,
comments on the Duck than I do on any other site.
same. That's another big difference about the Duck, I think, is it's since um it began back in my day. I was supposed to be an old lady. It wasn't a very good one. I'm tired, leave me alone. But
I think it's a valuable perspective to have, though, with so many young people getting into webcomics that don't realize like the world of webcomics is more than just mobile friendly scroll comics.
oh yeah, definitely. And the point to that, what you were saying about the comments too. All three of us here are creators, and
Mm-hmm.
people who create content, probably of any kind, would be very likely to agree that getting feedback like that, getting comments, really helps keep you going. It does a lot for morale. Other people
Yes.
realize it if they don't make the art, if they're not the craft. But comments really, really go a long way. That's why a lot of times, you can leave a comment on a creator's something somebody has made, and if they see it, they're probably going to gush a little bit or be like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" It's because it really makes our fucking day. And so that's the
Yes.
dog's been great for that, for years and years. It's just the kind of community that it's fostered. So
I actually made a poll recently on Twitter trying to find out what makes someone engage. And a lot of people said it's because they either know the author or they're just strictly a lurker so they don't engage. And that just really sucks because it's like, great, so all the random people who are going to see my comic aren't going to comment because they just don't know me personally. And it's like, well, if you never comment, you're never going to know me.
yeah,
As
Because
like a
I'm sorry.
creator who like lurks. Oh, sorry. As like a creator who lurks, I guess like I don't comment on like people's comics who I don't know because I don't know. I guess I don't know what to say. I'm really shy, but I never mind a random comment. So there's that weird disconnect. This is a shout out to all of you lurkers. Comment. It makes our days, and we
Yes.
truly don't mind if your comments are wild.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I will get some comments I don't understand what the fuck the person is saying, but I will try to respond the best that I can. Like I've gotten some comments and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is about, but okay.
Yeah, right. Like go off. Like I want to hear about all the weird, stupid shit you think about when you read my stuff. And like it's also okay just to also be that person who's like, nice. I
No,
like the page.
I
It's
have
hard to
to
say something about the page,
I have to give a shout out, which I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I bet if the person listens to this, they will know who they are. This person always commented on Scardian, and they always had like the best comments and like the best theories. And I wish that they would go to my site and comment because I loved reading their comments. And I feel like for the future of Scorned, there's going to be a lot of things where you can theorize about and have some deep thoughts. And it's just like I would love to have them there so I can see their comments and see their theories and just like gush because they like those comments always made me so happy.
It's so special when you have like one or two people who always leave a comment. Like, I don't know. I guess those people maybe they don't know that we know them, and like they don't know that like we look forward to seeing those comments. But yeah, it's really special.
Absolutely. I don't know if you could find that person's name again, Alice.
I believe it starts with an E.
Plymaya?
Entropy? I don't know if that's how it is pronounced.
I do have a wonderful person on Castle of Joy who comments a lot. But so what I've done is I've opened up the statistics for both of my comics, two separate comics. One of them is on Tapas. It's like a pretty Tapas-friendly comic, I guess. It's a lesbian romance about two rival knights. Like it's pretty like.
It's pretty fucking hot.
Thank you. It's like a I guess like
nobody's business.
Aw, thank you. I also haven't updated in Jesus Christ, nearly a year actually. This is pretty embarrassing. I am still working on it. I just want to finish the entire thing and then I'm just gonna like release it weekly. It will be finished. I'm just going kind of slow at my own pace. And that's okay. But on Love and War, I have 673 subscribers. That number's jumped by like 200 in the last year when I haven't updated a single page. I don't know why that is. And I guess that's like the ability of Tapas to share your comic around because of its like tagging system and because it's got an inbuilt community full of people who just want to read comics. While on Castle of Joy, I have 32 subscribers, but I have probably double the amount of comments on every page on Castle of Joy as I do on Love and War. Castle of Joy has like fewer pages, it updates less frequently. It's also in black and white versus color. People like color comics on the internet. Like, I think that's a testament to the Duck that I can make maybe not a perfect comparison between two comics, but people here, there's a real sense of community.
Yeah, actually, I recently installed an analytics plugin for my site. And I was actually surprised how many views I get because I get like no comments most of the time. I get some from Pitt, I get some from Miranda. I know I used to get some from you, but when I changed the name, I lost your comments, unfortunately.
Oh, I also deleted my old Twitter account, and like Discus has
Oh,
never like
yeah.
forgiven me for that.
But and it's just like I get more than 400 views or something like that when I update on my update day.
On your own site.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, but I'm always guaranteed to get a comment on the doc, but I'm not
Yes.
guaranteed to get a comment on my site. And that's just it's kind of disheartening because I put so much love and work into my site and no one
But you have
wants to go
400
there.
people who reads every page.
Well, I think maybe I got that wrong, but actually might not have been 400 people. I'm sorry, 400 views. That's completely different. I wish it was 400 people.
But like 400 views is 400 unique views, right?
I think so. I think that's what I saw, but I would have to go back, and I don't want to go balls deep into it. But yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, but
I mean, I guess you go, Pit. You go.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, when you get a lot of views like that, though, and again, when nobody speaks up, you feel like you're on an island. Not that I get like 400 views when I update, but you know, when nobody's engaging, it feels like you're shouting in a bridge, and you know, nobody's under there. It's just echoing back, and it's just you're all alone. But one thing that the Duck does, again, attesting to that sense of community, is we do things like, you know, we have the Drunkduck Awards, we have all sorts of little community projects that people get on the go, and a lot of times they fizzle out. The awards never fizzle out. Against all odds, those come to fruition. But that's another thing that's unique to the Duck, because these other big sites don't really engage in stuff like that. People might do them on a smaller level, maybe. I don't know if you have some creators who are friends or something like that. But these bigger sites really aren't having massive engagement events like that, where you almost feel like you're coming across and like shaking other creators' hands and stuff like that, you know?
Not in a grassroots sense that the Duck has. Like they have like big events, like you know, submit a pitch for like a comic, or like submit a comic on a theme and things like that. But it's, I don't know, I think there's the punk in me. There's something punk about the Duck that is really missing. And in my opinion, comics are the medium of like the punk. It's a fully creator controlled visual storytelling medium, like zines, comics, all of those sort of things that you can easily just print out and staple and distribute. Like zines and comics are punk, and the current state of webcomics is a corporate smoothing of it. But because anyone can make a comic and anyone can upload it, I don't think we'll ever fully lose the like punkiness of comics.
You know what? You're so right, because like I was just thinking about this the other day. Like zines and stuff like that are most like the version of back in the 80s, when you had all these underground bands and they would make these mixtapes, and you know, these little drunk ass thrashers and stuff would go to underground shows and trade, you know, the mixtapes and stuff like that. And that's how get around, you know, small bands back then. That's how they got around, and that's exactly what these kind of zines are. And now this anthology is another one of those sorts of things. I mean, we all came together to get this thing together, and I don't know if it'll happen again. It'd be cool. It is hard.
Yes.
But and you two can really speak on that a lot more. I think it'd be really important for everybody to hear how much work that you put into that.
I mean, you go, Alice.
Wait, okay, there we go. I actually muted myself for a second. I actually feel like fuck, I can't say your name. Mallory, can I say Mallory?
Absolutely.
Okay, I feel like Mallory did, like, hands down the most work. They started out the emails, they fixed how we were going to do, kind of like the calendar log thing, like the check-ins. They were so fucking organized.
So like I have mentioned it before on like the Quackcast before, and we are on the Quackcast. There's like a little insert, like a sofa cushion. It's look, this is my job. I'm a basically my job boils down to project manager. So managing projects, managing people is something that I do, but this was, you know, something different. And like, you know, not only are we trying to do it in COVID, where a lot of people are out of work, in isolation, truly like fucking miserable. I don't know about you folks, but I had such a difficult time being creative during lockdown.
Oh yeah, that was actually gonna be one of the questions. Was like, how did COVID impact us while we were doing this? And I feel like, I mean, horror in general is just not a good genre for me. I'm not
It's a tricky
really,
one.
yeah, I'm not really about like making people scared. I'm more about traumatizing my characters in a deep way that goes with them for years. That's
You're
my
so
kind of
good at it.
horror. Yeah. Anyway, so
Your characters are tools, and you should hurt them. They're not real people.
yeah, I wish they were though, to quench my
Mood.
thirst. Anyway, so it was really hard during COVID because it just felt like nothing was going right. It was very stressful. I like got a job and then I lost that job and like shit was just falling down basically. Like everything was just like crumbling and I actually couldn't submit anything because I couldn't come up with anything. And so I was just like, you know what? You guys want some coloring pages? Here, I'll give you coloring pages. Like this is the best that I can do because
Yeah.
I felt very useless in this because it's like I felt like I didn't really do anything besides maybe
No.
send out a few emails and
No, you
And
did
all
that's
of the
it.
marketing materials.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no one.
No,
Okay.
but that's huge to do that.
Huge.
That's critical to doing this. And before you were tweeting out, I think, or at least telling us how much that it made so far, that could not have been done without you.
Yes.
I'm just gonna be very honest right now and break your heart and tell you that apparently we had no buys from Twitter socials. All of our purchases came from directly from the duck.
Really?
Yes.
And that, oh, I mean, you can like talk about the community and talk about the community, but like there it is in dollars and cents. Like
So
that's why we do this. That's the people we do this for. Like I think that says something.
it really
Yeah.
does. It feels like the people on the duck are not really much on Twitter, and it feels like the people on Twitter are more on Webtoons and Tapas and all those
Yes.
other fancy sites. And the thing is, that's one of the reasons why we want to do this for the duck is because we want to invite more creators to this platform. Because you can do like a classic comic look, you can do a scroll format. Like it's so open. This like it's like one big family that's very open with each other.
I mean,
Yeah.
and for me, it's like the resolution as well. That was one of the two big draw cards, and like why the duck means a lot to me, and like why I came to the duck. So I'm probably out of the three of us the most recent person. I joined in about 2019, but I came here because like I make Bond comics, and you can't upload those on most platforms.
Boo.
You can't you can put them on Twitter, but Twitter's a rotten comic platform. DeviantArt is like a trash fire. Tapas and Webtoons will ban you if you have any sort of like nip nops. Smack Jeeves is like dead. Comic Fury, the community, like well, the community never really appealed to me. It's not my kind of thing. So short of paying for my own hosting, which wasn't an option at the time, the duck is like one of the last bastions of, I guess, the old order that doesn't consider anything like any sex, any like R-rated things. It doesn't consider them unacceptable.
Basically, the duck is pre-Christianity.
Yeah. And pre-App Store.
Like everyone was
Yeah.
having occasional orgies and like women could show off their shoulders. And now
I mean, I joined the duck for the orgies, so
and now it's like God forbid you mention you're in a polyamorous relationship or you swing the other way. I mean, now we're becoming more open, but like I'm saying, like back then in the old days, you could put your wee wee wherever you wanted, and no one judged.
See, yeah, it's like the duck. I guess like there's good things and bad things to it because it's an older site and it does have a tight knit community, but it's sort of an older vibe as well, is, quite comfortable for me as someone who came online to the internet. But there's not, it's a very different feel on the Duck than in like another forum, for example. The crowd is a little older, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. And can I just say really quick too that I mean, the duck has almost come to extinction once or twice. Who
Mhm.
hasn't all that time? Because it's been around a lot longer than I've been putting up comics. I can't remember when it started. Early 2000s, I think.
Yeah,
Might
that
even
sounds about
predate
right.
that. Hard to be able to say. But can I just say though that uh, the duck has survived extinction a number of times, and the ozone ocean almost completely by himself has been keeping it afloat and trying to, I mean, like keeping things going from the inside. And he's got people, that help him out with like the technical stuff and whatnot. And we're very indebted to those people as well. But this isn't a site that has a big crew behind it, making
No.
everything big. It has been running solely on Ozone Ocean's blood and sweat and Aussie tears. Um, and he doesn't claim enough credit for it. So I just kind of want to say that here and
Mm.
now. So doing stuff like this, these money raising initiatives to help the site out, um, you help soothe his little Aussie heart as well. And it's just amazing that it's lasted. And I think that it's in the past, it's the couple bruises that it has taken, I think, is what has continued to plague it. Like people were afraid to come back to the duck for a time, but we've grown from that, um, and we're trying to become stronger. We are a lot stronger than we were back then, but
Mhm.
we're trying to keep this forward momentum going, so we can have such an incredible platform like this persist. Because just like you were saying before, Matt, like where else do you put stuff like that?
Yes.
And it would suck to lose those amazing comics. Your comic is absolutely amazing. I love how you make, yeah, the steamy scenes and stuff, because there's
Ah,
so
thank
much.
you.
Well, there's a lot there to love about it. It's not just like, this is a wee wee, and this is another wee wee, and this wee wee goes in this wee wee. Like, there's characters, there's a lot there to love. I love reading your comic.
I guess
Um,
it's
and
it's
it,
it's like one
it
of
would
those
be
tricky
character.
things because, your options are like self-hosting, the Dark, if I'm like, and I'm not at a professional level, like something like Filthy Figments or Slipshine. I don't have a consistent update schedule, and the skill level there is sort of like out of my reach. So, and now the Tumblr's dead, especially. That was actually like a half decent comic hosting platform too, with the right plugins. We're sort of left, and adult creators, and especially adult queer creators, we are left in the lurch about where we go because, queer content is often rated higher than it should be, for like traditional rating systems. So there are into the porn bans and the adult material bans based on App Store regulations, which, Tapas and Webtoon are beholden to.
Yeah,
But like those regulations really like destroy the weird and the queer and the adult, which is a shame.
absolutely. It
Oh,
is.
actually, speaking of regulations, so Tapas used to let you post nudity as long as it wasn't sexual, and actually Webtoons used to do that too. And I know
Yes.
this because when I was doing Scarred Eden, I knew I was gonna make my dream woman show off her giant titties. And
Yeah.
I
Yes.
purposely looked into it as, can I post nudity? Because that was gonna be a big thing for me, because the world where Dream Woman is from, a lot of people are very comfortable with showing off their bits. They don't
Yeah.
care. Um, so yes, they actually used to let you. And they never like gave me an update that they were changing that, and that's when I learned that they decided that they weren't going to do it anymore because of the App Store. And then Tapas just hopped on that bandwagon. I think this year, um, where they were like, you can't post nudity
Yeah.
anymore because we don't want our things, like, we don't want the app or whatever taken down.
Oh, but the premium porn is fine because so much of the traffic comes from mobile users who read comics, like, you know, on their phones, on like the way to and from places, and like you can just like read webcomics wherever you want, which is quite cool. But they would lose a lot of their viewership if they weren't allowed on the App Store anymore.
But the thing is that they used to do a thing where they would actually just not make your comic available on the App Store because they would say, like, if you do mature content, your comic will not be available to be viewed on the App Store.
Yes. I mean, it's one of those like quite tricky things because also, I mean, the Duck also never does the thing that I disagree with so much, which is that regular creators like us three are put in the same site and the same category as professional creators who are paid to do their work by the site, who may have like a team of assistants, you know, like even as many as like half a dozen assistants doing coloring and lettering and all of the other time consuming things. And we are held by the readers to the same standards as those creators because the readers
Yeah.
don't understand the difference or like don't see the difference because the site doesn't have a clear distinction between professional creators and amateurs. So we're held to a standard by readers who think that we should update every week, who think that we can produce this amount of pages.
Dude, oh my god, that shit pisses me off. Like, I'm sorry that I'm not rich enough to make sure I'm up to your standards and making sure that this is all available for you. Like, but if you want to make that dream happen, you can come down to my Patreon and support me. I do have that, you know, as my goal. Like, oh hey, when I
Hell
reach
yeah.
like 2K or 3K, maybe I can get some help and I can actually, you know, live.
Yeah.
But, no. Oh no, I don't want to support you.
You know, every time I get on this podcast, it becomes like Mal's punk, gay, pornographic, comics hour. Every
But
time.
I love it though.
I'm
Follow that
really
flag in the
passionate about
battle any day.
webcomics.
This
I'm really
Absolutely.
passionate.
it's
Yeah.
honestly a very big thing about the duck, and I think it's relatable. Like, everyone who's on the duck, it's because there is freedom here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, and I mean, even I love the duck community. I love like the idea of it, but I mean, the anthology itself still difficult to run.
Oh yeah, that was gonna be another question. Was this a difficult anthology to run? And yes, it was for
Yes.
me. Pitt, what did you think?
Well, it was my first time doing something like this or participating in something like this. And it's a lot more intricate than I would have thought at first. And that's even without us going to physical copies, even just digital copies. You know, we have to take into consideration, you know, where we're selling from and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's gone well as a crash course. It's there, it's alive. Um, just next time, I don't know, maybe somebody else wants to take the helm. I don't know. Or you guys could you guys are amazing in it. But I mean, as since this is a community, I think it would be great if other people would also volunteer. Maybe I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, my job at the moment is like insanely busy. Like, you know, I'm at work from like 6:30 in the morning to 5:30 at night, and it is exhausting. I wouldn't, I mean, at the moment have time to would not have time to run the anthology because it takes a lot of management.
Yes.
It's not just we ask people for comics and they submit them. There's a lot of management in there.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna be honest about my experience, if that's okay with you two.
I mean, like, honesty is what people listen to this podcast for. Oz, you should put this at the start that they're going to get some spicy honesty.
Yeah. This anthology was, you know what? I adore everyone to a point on the duck, but there were a lot of complications with trying to get in contact with people, which is what made it really tough. And then, obviously because of COVID was going on, obviously everyone's
Mm.
busy. And we actually forgot to miss a few check-ins, and there were a few complaints, and like some people were going on the forums to ask like, oh, what's going on with it? When is it happening? And this was even before we, I think, officially started the planning phase. We were already getting those messages. And then it's like, do not contact us on the duck unless you're gonna go into like DMs, because I will very rarely look at the forums. I'm not a forum person. I used to be, and then I
Yeah.
decided to be a quiet bitch, and that just changed my life. Um,
But
so
we
it was,
also posted the email address to contact us through, though. So, like,
yes, but not all of us kept checking the email. That was the other
Yeah.
issue.
it's true.
I mean, that's like it's a tricky thing about because the Duck has got a website, there's a Discord, there's the emails, and like also like DMs as well. So I think, look, if we had to do it again, I would definitely make communication and having clear lines of communication. That's something I would improve. Because like I did get the sense a lot of people were super frustrated with it, and I got super frustrated with it as well. Like, ugh, why are you contacting me on the forums? I don't get pinged. Just put it on the Discord where we can where I can
Yeah.
respond to you instantly.
I
And
know,
that's just a miscommunication.
I put it on the forums that do not message about the anthology on the forums. Like, don't say anything about it, like asking where it is. Like,
Do not observe.
if you don't want to use your email, if you can't use Discord, then just send me a PQ, because I do normally check Discord on the days that I would update. So I am guaranteed to see your message once a week if you actually message me. I'm not guaranteed to check the forums once a week because I just don't really go on the forums. Um, and then my issue with accessing email is because I have
Oh my God, that was
so
so
many
painful.
fucking emails, and I don't like to switch back and forth. Like, that was one of the things that I was like, I don't really want to work on the emails.
It's
But
tricky because we're all three of us are in different countries. I'm in a fully different time zone to everyone else. So this is sort of like more of a funny thing than anything else. My current partner also did the layout for the anthology, so we had to give him the email and password, and we all got locked. All of us got locked out at various points. The passwords had to be changed because we got locked out. There was a point where he was trying to log on to download all of the comics, but it needed Alice as the owner of the Gmail. You had to do a confirmation, but you're in New York time zone and we're in Melbourne. So it was just I don't know if there's a better way to manage it than Gmail, but oof, Gmail did not make it easy on us. They really, really didn't.
it's not a good time when you have to have 4 people in one email account.
Yes, because Google just sits there and thinks, man, this looks like a scam of some description. Have you been hacked?
Like, is this bitch traveling back and forth?
Yes. Yeah, it got very confused very quickly.
So, just to ask another question, what was both of your favorite and least process of this? I think we already know the least favorite, but what's your most favorite?
Well, for me, the answer, aside from working on it, I think the answer is kind of the same for both questions, and that's kind of the process of choosing who gets to make it. Because I don't like turning people away. We had to do that, but I do really like reading the submissions, and that part was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, again, in all of those submissions, and when you read the anthology, you can see it. There's just such a variety of work in there.
I think my most favorite part was was actually setting it all up in the beginning, because that all seemed fun. And then the next best part was actually seeing it all done on the layout, because I got to
Yes.
see it all completed, and I was like, oh my god, this would look amazing as a book. Like, it's so professionally done. So, shout out to Lescald. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, fuck me in the ass, I guess, whatever. I suck at this.
No, that is right.
Okay, just so that, but that was the best part, I think.
Yeah. Seeing that come together at the end was just like, I felt like out of Indiana Jones when like he finds like the artifact and it's like there's the whole like, oh, it's like there it is, it's complete, it's there against all odds, we have it.
I was thinking of the
Anyway,
boulder when you said that, and I was like, I don't think he was admiring the boulder.
yeah. I think it was also the boulder at some points. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, for me, like my favorite part was just being able to like feel how passionate every single contributor was about the project. Like when we first signed everybody up, I had the thought that, okay, well, this is an unpaid project. We are asking a lot of these people. Like a whole mini comic is a lot of work. I'm expecting like a 40%, 50% dropout rate. Like people aren't like going to be able to have the time, and COVID's happening, which is sapping everyone's creative output. But the dropout rate we had was like spectacularly low. The way people pulled together and got their comics in to such an amazing standard, like that's so special. Being able to like harness the power of the community, I guess. That's my favorite part. That felt really special.
Yeah, I was actually surprised about that also. I don't know specifically how many dropouts we had. I know one person just disappeared out of thin air. I was just like, okay. But yeah, no, it was honestly surprising. I'm gonna be honest, I had my doubts because it seemed like a lot of people were fresh to this, and I was like, people are gonna probably dip their toes in the water and think it's okay, but then when they get deeper, they're not gonna want to go anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was definitely
but instead,
one of
I
those
think
people.
we had the, which like is okay. Comic is a huge undertaking, but the dropout rate we had was spectacularly low. I think only 2 folks found that they weren't able to keep going with it out of something like 18, or 20, which was like wild. The way people pulled together was really cool. If the Duck doesn't do another anthology, I think now we have the basis for saying that, like, okay, yes, everyone can have a level of comfort in participating because we've done it before.
Yeah.
Now that we've proved that we can, I would say that the second one would be much easier.
I feel like we're basically answering the questions in other. Oh my god, phone, no. In other questions. I don't know if you guys actually heard that, but it went off, and in case the microphone picked it up, I have to let everyone know I know it was my phone.
That's okay. You're just special.
I am special. Fuck, where was I now? Oh, what did you learn from this? Well, I learned that communication is key, and it's not as easy as it looks. And you know what? If you're not feeling something, it's okay to not feel it.
Absolutely. Although, yes, I am looking at the questions and making it seamless. But
oh, that makes a lot of sense now.
I'm like this big brain podcast energy.
There she is again, or there they are, taking control of the situation, making sure all of the gears are oiled.
Yeah, I was actually
yeah.
telling Mallory earlier that she's like this. She has like big dick energy, and she's a boss.
I mean, this is my job. Like, my job isn't quite like, I guess I would call this like, it's not an event management. Event management makes me want to have a panic attack. Like, plan hundreds of cubic meters of like a concrete pour on like a tight timeline. Yeah, sure, whatever, ain't no thing. Plan one party, and I want to have like a mental breakdown. Yeah. But this is the kind of thing that I find pleasure in, is getting all of like the different bits and pieces together and like making it all happen. And this is different from my job, of course, because at my job we have a very strict timeline. I have a very strict contract to hold my suppliers and subcontractors to, that I can smack them with. While here, we're working with purely on the power of passion, like with volunteers who are working in their limited free time to do something completely unpaid for the benefit of a website. So for me, the management strategy had to be completely different.
Oh, that actually adds to another thing that I think we all learned, is that if we were to run another anthology, we need to give people way more time.
Yes.
I would
completely agree.
I think, like, honestly, I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if people were just busy, like that was their regular day-to-day lives. But I definitely think for like an anthology as big as we were trying to achieve, I think we needed at least a year because I think this is what it really took us. I think it took us like a full year. Like we're going into August. Didn't we start it in August last year?
Oh my god, I guess we just need to like scroll back through this okay, so like we're actually doing this podcast on like a Discord group chat we've had since really the very beginning. And damn, this is like it's a long-term project.
Yeah, it really is. But I totally agree. There needs to be more time. For communication. Learning a lot of things here, but I think that since these are things that are being learned, that only means that next time it will be even better.
I know how to
Yes.
find out. Oh fuck, I can't English. I know how to find out if when it started. I'm just gonna look at when we sent out the emails.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's so smart.
But yeah, it was in August.
Oh my god.
We're like, oh, we'll have a Halloween theme. It'll come out around Halloween, and here we are. Like,
Yeah,
it worked out.
Just do a Halloween theme.
Halloween
Foolishness.
next year, right?
I really was hoping that we were gonna get a Halloween theme because I wanted to do something Halloween that was cute, not really horror.
Yeah.
But with
I think
horror,
for the next time,
yeah,
the theme would be different.
I know I would if we do a zine. I would love to do a Halloween zine because I feel like zines are smaller, and it just
yeah.
Are they smaller? I think they are.
Zines,
Yeah.
I mean, zine has like is such a loose definition. I mean, nowadays on Twitter, fanzine is like 120 page long. People are paid for it. Kickstarter, slick production. But like really at the heart of a zine is like, you know, it's an A4 sheet of paper, you write some shit on it, you staple it, and you give it out to your friends. You photocopy it at like Officeworks or Staples
And
in the
you know
States, I
what?
guess.
Like, again, us three, we don't own this idea. We don't own the idea of the anthology. If other people in the community want to get together, like say you get a few of your shithead friends together or something like that, and just say, hey, we want to make a anthology of our own stuff. Or, you know, if we have a theme sometime that you don't like, and you go, well, I want this theme, feel 1000% free to do that. We do not own it.
100%.
You definitely, like, if you are trying to raise money for the site, I guess feel free to actually contact Ozone about, like, trying to get, you know, him involved and, like a fundraiser kind of thing, because obviously if it's a fundraiser, you want to be more known about it. But if you're going to do your own personal thing, feel free to do your own personal thing. But, like, if we don't run one next year, that doesn't mean you can't run one.
Right.
Yeah. Because
also, like, this is a warning that we don't want to run one next year.
Give me some see, the thing is, give me some distance and I might want to run it again. But I, you know, like speaking candidly, I would want a theme that's a little bit more, not inclusive, but a little easier for folks to wrap their head around, because horror is a very specific genre.
Yeah.
Very specific, relies on a certain theming. You go in with a certain set of like expectations. So the theme would have to be different. But, you know, like the genesis of going back to the community feel of it, the genesis of this anthology, you know, the idea had been kicked around the Duck forums for a few months before we, like the editors here, we seriously started to sit down and actually really think about making this thing happen. Because, you know, I am the kind of person with very low impulse control, and I will just do things and I will just start things. I'll see like an idea for an anthology, be like, fuck yeah, let's stop talking about it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And then we'll just do it. And that's, you know, the kind of person I am.
Yep, like I said, big dick energy.
Aw, thank you.
Like, I'm gonna
yeah,
make
I'll
things
just-
very awkward right now, but if you and I were in a relationship, I already know I'm gonna be the bottom.
I mean, I am 75% a top, so fair.
That's fine. I like
But,
being
like-
the bottom, so.
It's just easy being a pillow princess.
And I like to watch, so let's work out.
It's
Like-
the perfect polyamorous relationship,
Like,
except for the time zones.
I just like to lay down and just lay there. So it's fine.
I love this energy. It's just like, yep,
Like, yeah,
you can do all of the work. Thank
yeah, just take me. I am okay.
you. But like, you know, there was a lot of talk about like other folks running an anthology, which is like a great idea. And there was like a little bit of interest because, as I've been told, that previously the Duck had released other like anthologies before the GFC in 2007. So in the wake of another global market shakeup, we might as well start the Duck again, I guess.
You
When
know,
the world's at its lowest, we will rise.
Yeah, right?
I actually thought this was the Duck's first one for a long time, and that's what I thought it was going to be.
Been a long time.
Well, no, I meant like for the first one ever. Like for the longest time, I thought this was going to be the first one. That's what I meant. And that's why I was like, oh, this is going to be special. It's going to be the first one. We're going to pop the cherry. And then people tell me like, oh no, there were other anthologies. And I'm like, oh, okay. Just take that away from me.
But yeah, I mean, it's nice to like get an anthology going again. It's a pretty special community effort, and I do earnestly believe that not only will the next one be easier, I think it'll be more successful now that people know that this is a thing that can be done. You're not leaping in headfirst, totally blind. Like, God, is this thing even going to work? Is it even going to be good at the end of it? Those are all things I guess you have to consider, but you know,
Right.
I guess with this first anthology, we just wanted to like get it done.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Absolutely.
say that if the next one, if I'm part of it, or like if I'm running it, I'm making everyone get a Discord. Like,
I do
Right.
think it's the easiest way to communicate, because you know, communication is the thing that I definitely want to be able to improve. You know, if we're running the next one, I definitely want to make communication a little bit easier, especially for the participants. 3 people managing a Google account with Google being useless at managing multiple email threads made it really difficult to check in individually with contributors, made it really difficult to chase up people individually. We relied pretty heavily on a spreadsheet to manage these works. And like the way we managed it, you know, was different from originally anticipated. I originally had the idea that like, oh, you know, we'll like make sure that everyone's on track by like making sure everyone's got their pencils, inks, and colors by a certain date. But you know, not everyone works like that. Not everyone works in batches, and it's a lot of management to check in like that.
yeah, also,
Especially wrangling artists on the internet is like
Yeah.
we have the what's the stupid word I'm looking for? Well, people know us as being pretty flaky, and that holds
Yeah.
true for things. And life happens too. It's not just being flaky.
100%.
but a lot of
I'm
shit happens.
100% flaky. I don't know what you're talking about. But also the thing about Discord is that if you have a question and it's like a group chat, there's always maybe someone else that can answer it for you.
Yeah.
And also always someone who wants to know the answer to the same question.
Yeah, so it's just like it's so much easier. Like you can all talk to each other. If you're having problems with something, you can talk to someone and be like, "Hey, I'm having issues. Can someone help me?" And there's a chance someone's willing to help you. It's just
Yeah.
it's a group chat. It's like a family dinner thing, you know, you're all there and someone's going to answer you eventually. But like in the emails, it was just so difficult because fuck that account. That was so hard to do.
I mean, I also have ADHD, and like doing like literal basic normal human things like checking emails is like one of the things that's basically impossible for me to do. So I prefer Discord in that sense. So yeah, I think that's something that we would do a little differently next time.
You know what?
Yeah, like there might be one person to kind of take care of email, or it might not go that way. But I think what kind of made me hesitant to like answer emails and even read them is, so I know myself again as a flaky person. What would probably happen with me is that somebody asks a question and I go, oh, well, I should consult my other two buddies. And then I go to do that and I never do it and I forget it. But then the answer or the original email comes up as read, so nobody else checks it, and then like it falls into the abyss.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, I don't want to go in there.
Actually, you know what? That might be a good solution I was just thinking of, is that if someone needs help to maybe actually have, I guess, someone's direct personal email, but then I was like, I don't really want to be bothered all the time. But at the same time,
I never
think
check my mail email.
Oh, I check all my emails. I have 3 main emails that I always check. Because, like, one is for art business, one is for human business that involves the, outside world that I hate so much. And then one is just things where I use to, like, make purchases or whatever. Because I'm just more organized that way.
Yeah.
But, like, that could probably work better is if they had someone's personal email, or, like, if they had actually contacted me on the Duck through the messaging system, like I said, that would have been great, because it's much easier to check.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's that communication again that is the key between project success and project failure, is always communication. And it's putting, I say, your stakeholders. So for me at work, it's my stakeholders, and here we have stakeholders, but interested people as well. It's being able to keep all of those people informed.
By the way, in case we didn't plug it in yet, you can buy the Anthology on Gumroad.
Buy the Anthology!
Yes, which will be linked by Ozone, because he does this. I do not do this, but he does it.
If anyone
he's afraid
listening,
of Discord, but he can stitch a podcast together like nobody's business.
Hell yeah. But yeah, like for anyone listening, this was like the contributors put in an unbelievable amount of work. The least you can do is buy the Anthology, right?
Yeah, it's only $15. I mean,
Pretty good.
Could be more expensive. Couldn't be cheaper, because we need to make the money.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so I mean, the goal of this anthology is really to fund the redevelopment so that the Duck can compete on more equal footing with a Tapas or a Webtoons, and make itself look like a modern option.
Yeah,
and that's really the goal here. The goal is to raise money.
And hopefully
we're not making a dime out of this.
Yeah, and hopefully the Duck can be, more accessible or found by adult creators who would really like to showcase their work.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And can I say too that, like, because one of the things that we were figuring out when we were making this anthology is, are we going to make it not safe for work and stuff like that? And so at first we were going to have the 2 options, which I think would be great. But in the future, again, if somebody else also wants to put this together, since there are so many adult creators on the Duck, it would be really cool just to see an anthology of adult creators, because so many times those are people that, even to an extent on the Duck, don't get shared around as much. And that on the Duck, it's because you need to be 18 to see adult comics, which is understandable, but still a wall there. So I think it'd be really cool to see somebody put together an anthology of the Duck creator, or the adult creators.
A bunch of dicks.
Just dicks happen everywhere. Yeah.
I will say,
anthology, I would buy it.
My submission was going to have Hell getting eaten out, which was something I was so excited for.
Oh,
you've still got to you still have to do something in this vein of the comic.
Now I have to now show her getting eaten out somehow. Damn, now I really want to put it in my comic, but it's like my comic's not really supposed to be adult. It's supposed to be,
Patreon though, right? Make it an extra on Patreon.
Yeah, but it's like my Patreon is like pay what you want, and I try to take away the not safe for work stuff, because it seems like no one wants to get the like everyone who's on my Patreon does not seem like they're for it for the dick and the vagina, even though that's a lie. Actually, my boyfriend was very much into that. But
Mhm.
I mean, I just draw it anyway and I show it to him, and he's interested. So
Into it. I mean, and so I don't know Patreon world enough, and I don't know if I want to ask this on here because it's not about Patreon, but is there, because I'm new to getting back onto Patreon, and is there a way to, like, say you want to make adult things available for people to see if they want to see it, but, like, say you have a mixed audience, and, like, for instance, some people don't want to see dicks and vaginas and all that stuff.
I would make it different tiers.
yeah, you can. I believe you can
Okay.
have 2 different tiers of the same price, and one's not
Okay.
safe for work and one's safe for work. I think. I'm
Oh,
not
sweet.
100% sure. Because
Yeah,
I
no.
was thinking about doing that, but I'm like, I don't know how often I'm gonna actually make not safe for work stuff, so I don't want to give that as an option.
But
see,
no, I mean,
yeah.
not safe for work Patreons tend to do pretty well because it's a sort of thing people expect to pay for. There's a few creators who like do decently well from like their not safe for work on Patreon. So I guess it's worth thinking about.
Well, speaking of
Yeah.
Patreon, if you want to support the Doug in another way that's not through the anthology, you can become their patron, which will be linked
Yes.
down below, I believe. Whatever
That's right.
Ozone does.
And every week you get a video, a live video, as opposed to a dead video of what me and the other people are talk about on the podcast. And so you get a little 10-minute video of us being clever, and usually some degree of unkempt. I usually have very heavy bags under my eyes because it's in the morning.
You get to see their beautiful faces, except for
That's
Baines,
right.
because I believe he's behind a picture of his character.
He is.
So you can't see his
He's
face.
very shy. Yeah.
Feels. I don't like to show my face either. I'm very shy and I don't want to blind people. I'm like Medusa. It works out. Which, Mallory, you're gonna have to wear a blindfold when you're on top. Anyway,
Kinky.
I know, right? So, what else can we say? I guess that's kind of it. We kind of summarized it. Like, we did this for the duck, for the people of the duck. We want to bring the site to 2025, because we're not in 2021 anymore. And,
What is time?
yeah, what is time? Like, no one cares. Yeah, we just want, like, make it accessible to everyone. We did it out of love. This was a pure, thing out of love. No one got paid.
Yes.
And it was really nice to see the community really come together, and we got so many, like, it was just so much support from the community. And I'm actually very proud of how, like, excited everyone was and how people really put a foot forward.
Absolutely. It was a wonderful experience. It really was.
Definitely. Yeah, it's something that I'm really proud to be part of. I'm proud of everyone who was part of it, and it feels really special and like such a gift to be able to give back to this community. So buy the anthology, for God's sake. Please. Yes. We worked so hard on it.
Yes. Females, lesbian vampires.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I made some full color lesbian Dracula vampire comics.
Would totally
pretty happy with it.
And if you're into coloring pages, I put in some coloring pages there.
Yes, they're lovely.
If you need instructions on how to color them through an app, you can PQ me. Do not go to the forums. Personal quack me, and I will give you instructions. But, any last words, or are we good to send off?
I think we're pretty good. Where can our listeners find you guys on the internet?
I'm on Twitter at SnowyWisp. Please comment on my comic. I like comments.
Gond is wonderful. It's definitely worth a read.
Thank you.
It's really great.
There's lots of titties. There's lots of ass. There's gonna be some dick soon. Not actual dick. I mean, there might be dick personalities, but I don't know if I'm ready to show a dick yet. Oh, I will make men's butt cheeks visible at some point.
Oh, yes, please.
And there will be a shower scene with a guy.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Woo!
I cater
come
to
for the
everyone.
undead, stay for the titties. Yeah, it's a great comic. Go read it.
How about you, Pitt? Where we can find you?
Oh yeah, I got a comic too. On the Duck and on Tapa's sub inhabitants, and my screen name, just Pitface, and you'll find it one way or another. Inhabitants, yeah. I always hope it's not too general to be like there's 50 other comics out there, but I don't think there are. So yeah, go read it. Thank you. What about you, Mel?
You can find me on Twitter at Malvorav. You can also find my safe for work lesbian romance comic Love and War on Tapas, and you can also find my queer porn comic Castle of Joy on The Duck. Pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Beautiful architecture. That's all I'm gonna say. Besides, like, it's a great comic.
Aww,
the architecture is
thank you.
absolutely stunning. You're
That's
welcome.
you come for the porn and you stay for the flying buttresses.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. But
yeah,
no,
thank you everyone. I had a good time recording a podcast with you.
Yay!
me too.
It was a great conversation, and yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do this again, but if we do, can't wait to see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.